Welcome to the Star Chamber. I'm Ryan Swayze, a retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel and the founder and president of the Walk the Talk Foundation, a nonprofit that advocates for and advises currently serving and former military service members going through the arduous journey of administrative processes and investigations in our government.
And I am Francescagraham, a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Advisor for the Walk the Talk Foundation. For all our returning guests, welcome back. And for our new listeners, thank you for tuning in. Before we begin this week's topic, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, check out our Walk the Talk Foundation website, and hit that donate button if you think we're doing a good job. Also, check out our newsletter, the DoD Times Redacted, on all the socials, including LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Links in the description. All right, Star Chamber listeners, let's get started.
Hi everyone. This mini episode is called FERS Reality Check. A lot of federal employees are leaving service right now. Some are retiring after long careers. Others are stepping away sooner than they thought. Either way, there's one question I hear over and over. What happens to my pension? What happens to my money? That's what we're going to talk about today. Not in the polished way HR brochures do. Not with the myths and gossip that people pass around the water cooler. Just a clear-eyed look at how the federal employees' retirement system actually works. What you put into it, what you get out of it, and what leaving really means. But here's the truth. When people brag about great federal pensions, they're remembering CSRS, the old civil service retirement system that ended in the 1980s. FERS isn't that. It's smaller, it's slower, it leans heavier on you. And yet, leaving federal service, even without that golden parachute, is not the end of your story. Let's start with the comparison most people never make out loud. Under CSRS, a full career could leave you with half or more of your salary for life. You got annual cost of living adjustments, that check was predictable, it was designed to keep you in federal service for decades, and for many people it worked. But in 1987, Congress changed the rules. They created FERS, the Federal Employees Retirement System. Every new hire since then went into this new plan. Why? To fold federal workers into Social Security and to shift some of the costs and risk off of the government and onto the employee. So FERS is built on three legs: a very small pension, a larger Social Security, and the largest, a thrift savings plan. Basically, your own 401k. It sounds balanced on paper, but in practice, the pension is the smallest piece of that, the Social Security is the second largest piece, and your own contributions are the largest piece. So that means you shoulder more of the risk. Here's the part no one likes to spell out, the formula. Take your high 3 salary, that's your best 36 months of pay, multiply it by 1%, then multiply by your years of service. So let's say your high 3 is $100,000. You worked 30 years. The math is 1 times 30 times $100,000. That gives you $30,000 a year. If you retire at age 62 or later with 20 years or more, it bumps up a little to 1.1%. That would make it $33,000. That's the floor. That's the check you can count on. Compare that to CSRS, where 30 years often meant $50,000 or $55,000. Different systems, different worlds. Now here's something that stings. If you were hired before 2013, you pay just 0.8% of your salary into that pension. Not much, but Congress raised the rates. If you came in during 2013, you pay 3.1%. And if you came in 2014 or later, you pay 4.4%. And I emphasize, that is on top of whatever you contribute into TSP. So the formula doesn't change. You don't get a bigger pension for paying more. You just carry more of the cost. And on top of that, you're expected to put, as I said before, at least 5% into TSP to get the full government match. That's where the growth is supposed to come from. your own contributions. But that's also where the risk lives. So what happens if you leave before retirement age? You've got two choices. One, leave your contributions in and wait for a deferred pension later, and that only applies if you have 5 or more years of service. Or two, take a refund of what you paid in. Again, this is not your TSP. This is your 4.4% deductions out of your paycheck on top of your TSP. If you want that refund, brace yourself. There's no online portal, no app. You fill out a paper form and you mail it to OPM in Pennsylvania, snail mail style. If you've been married, you also need to fill out some additional paperwork to notify your spouse or ex-spouse. And then you wait, and then you wait, and then you wait. And first, your agency has to close out your records. That alone can take weeks, sometimes longer, especially in the current climate because there's a lot of transition in government. Only then OPM can start. And once they have it, expect 4 to 6 months. That's 75 to 100 business days, sometimes more. There were reports of up to 8 months. And that's if everything's clean. If your agency forgets to send a form or if the numbers don't match, your case just sits. No portals to check, just silence. So let's circle back. What does a FERS pension actually give you? In our $100,000 and 30-year example, you're looking at $30,000 to $33,000 a year. Add Social Security, maybe another $20 to $25K, depending on your earnings record, plus whatever you've built on your own in the thrift savings plan. So altogether, between your FERS pension, your Social Security, and your own contributions in TSP, you might replace maybe 60 or 70% of your pay, but it's all patchwork, and it looks very different from the CSRS stories that people like to tell. And again, here's another angle. If you're paying 4.4% of your salary today, and you put that in a low-cost index fund for 30 or 40 years, you might even build a larger nest egg. Now, sure, the market carries a risk, but you'd own the capital, you'd have flexibility. FERS gives you a very small guaranteed check. That's the trade. It's very small, but the government controls it. So what do we do with all of this? What does it mean? First of all, stop comparing yourself to CSRS. That system's gone. Second, don't let anyone tell you that leaving federal service is financial suicide. It isn't. Yes, the refund process is clunky. Yes, the pension is smaller, but you're not powerless here. Between your refund, Social Security, TSP, and whatever else you build, you still have choices. The system's not magic. It's paperwork. Know the rules. Make your move. You'll be fine. So here's your reality check. Federal pensions today aren't the golden ticket of yesterday. They're leaner, they're smaller, they're slower, and they ask you to pay more. Leaving federal service, whether it's your decision or not, is not the end of the road. It can be the start of something else. You can take what you've earned, you can build your own safety net, and you can put that energy into work, projects, and a life that the federal government just doesn't get to define anymore. So don't let these old myths, these old rumors, these old stories of your granddaddies and your daddies' federal pension system weigh you down. You're not losing everything when you leave. You're gaining perspective and maybe a little bit of freedom. Thanks for listening, and I hope this helps someone out there.
Well, that's it for this week's topic. We really appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and check out our foundation website at walkthetalkfoundation.org.
And feel free to reach out and give us feedback. You can get a hold of us via Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our foundation's website. Details in the description section. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next episode.